in general are in this planet is full of obstacles. There's no one that didn't find obstacles in life or doesn't have experience, good or bad, and usually we have in our memory, unfortunately, more of the bad experience, although most of the experiences are positive and good, but we talk more about the bad ones. And we always say we have hope, or we tell people to have hope when they find obstacles, bad experience, painful experience. We say, have hope. I avoid the word faith, because faith is sometimes is misunderstood because it has this religious connotation. And I think hope belongs to all people, even those that don't have any religious background, or they say I'm atheist. So they accept more, or they can say or send hope to anyone. So I decided to use hope. But faith also, it will work. So as you see the picture there, you see the person is jumping in any job or plan or project. We have always obstacles in life. And after we overcome these obstacles, or even before, we have many failures, which is not good feeling. But after we overcome all the failures and we succeed, we're happy. There is no successful project if there is no failures. Like Thomas Edison said, he tried so many times to develop the bulb. He didn't succeed for 900 something times. And his assistant said, why proceed? Why to do? Still going? He said, well, but I know that the 999 options were not good. So I'm closer to the good ending. And of course, the experience. And in the experience, we bring the past. And we look a lot to the future and forget the present. That's our problem. We tend to put it like a driving, look at the mirror to see who is coming from the back, but I cannot be looking at the mirror, not being, driving the present, because I may bump. And not also have too much in the future, being upset if I'm gonna have an accident ahead. This is anxiety, it won't help at all. So to go to the past too much, I may fall in some guilty feelings, depression, punishment, sense of punishment, and future is too much of anxieties, things that will never even happen, we are worried about. So we have to focus the present and hope, of course. So in this book, Plenitude, by Divaldo Franco and the spirit Jonah de Angelis, called Plenitude, the whole book is actually, except for one chapter, is all about suffering. Suffering many ways. And I'm going to read part of her preface, the introduction that she signed, in order for us to remove this old concept, pessimist concept, materialistic concept, and go to more spiritual, transcendental view of the suffering. Like the Eastern religion, they were more about that point of view than the Western civilization. So the Krishna, Buddha, they always thought about suffering as the way to go and to improve life, to improve ourselves. So it was normal. I was raised as a Buddhist. And they would say, well, suffering is part of your life. You didn't, my grandfather, he was very Buddhist, very almost Orthodox. And he went to Brazil, he was very young, like 17, 18 years old, and he met in this country full of Catholics. So he was kind of shocked. And so he wanted to reinforce the notion of the Buddhism in our family. And we could not celebrate the birthday. The kids won't have birthday celebration because the Buddhists that time would believe, perhaps today, Dalai Lama is more modernized. But he said, no, if you have to come to the planet Earth and be born here, it's because you didn't finish your job. Your purification, you have a lot that you didn't do well in the previous incarnation. That means you failed in some areas. So there is no celebration for that. But the death, we would celebrate. The Buddhists would celebrate the death because you finished your job here, hopefully successfully. So it's a joy. It's a joyful moment. So Jonah says, pessimistic philosophies and arbitrary religious doctrines have established that life means suffering, and therefore, every attempt at release from suffering results in failure. This is really pessimistic. Faithful to this ignoble diagnosis, rash thinkers of yesterday and today have proposed the suicide, euthanasia, abortion as escape mechanisms for dealing with distressing situations, and the death penalty as a means of punishment. So this is really materialistic point of view, and think that this is the only life we have, which is terrible to believe in that. So she says, of course suffering is part of life. She agrees. However, is nature's device through which intellectual and moral progress is expressed and consolidated. So we need suffering in order for us to move forward. You're going to have many examples in your lives where you say, well, that incident wake me up. After that, I became a better person, aware of my surroundings, more compassionate. My sentiments for others that went through the same problem enlarged, my consciousness opened up. I'm more awakened to the pain of others, where before I was only focusing my career, something like that. So she says, anticipating the modern day behavior, Spiritist has been summoning human beings to respect God, then to respect God, to respect themselves, to respect each other, all the living and non-living expressions, in order to learn and be happy, thus acquire plenitude. We analyze some of the aspects of suffering from Buddhism and Christian perspective, and propose the Spiritist solution, inviting humans to self-discovery, to live the gospel. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. So the whole book is about many situations of suffering, including suffering before death, or suffering to die, suffering the other side, this aspect. So we are, in the Spiritism, we say we are in the planet of trials and expiation. Wow, we are here for that. So not a happy world, happy planet? No, we are very far from that. We are not even in the regenerative planet, planet of regeneration, imagine, which is the next step. We are going through a transition from this planet, which is a very still lower level. We just get out from the primitive planet, world, which was this very without any concept of kindness, just to survive, to this trial and expiation where now we are awakening our consciousness in relation to our surrounding. Humans that live with us in family or a little bit far from our family, to the whole planet and all human living entities. So the big questions is, why are we here? And what are we here for? In this planet, when we are born in this planet of trials and expiation, the word is the same. We are for trial, and we are for expiation. So trial is tests. We decide to come to be tested, because in previous incarnations, we went through and failed. So then in the spiritual world, we went through some courses, and we saw which point we made a mistake, and said, I'm ready. Let me go back. I know this time I won't fail. Put me to the test. Expiation is more harder. It's for those spirits that made a huge mistakes towards himself, herself, through suicide, for instance, or inflicting real damage and suffering to others, sometimes to a big population, like happened in many wars. So what type of humans are incarnated here? As I said, those that are still in a learning process to be a good person, a good human being, compassionate, with moral values. So detaching a little bit from the materialistic, not that the materialism is bad, no, but it's very good. If we don't have this materialistic goal, attachment, we will get rid of many things that is responsible for us to be here, intact. So we need to be materialistically attached, but you cannot forget and say, well, it's just that is my only goal. The rest doesn't care. I don't care if you need, provide that I have, family has, and if I can have the second time, that's me again, and never to others. That is what is lacking. So the trials and what are the trials? Expiations is all our tests to test if we are awakening to be a better person. Better person to ourselves, better person to others that are around us. And people that are around us are not by chance around us. They were put more as a part of the plan. We think it's by chance. Oh, I saw this person, I fell in love. Oh, no. There was a law of attraction, law of affinity, and they were put there in that environment so your eyes just focus in that person in that moment. So everything is set. It's like a stage. It's set, and you are falling to that, almost a trap, right? So what we expect, as I said, what we expect once we're born in this planet, like planet Earth. Oh, to take the test. What is this as? ACT, you say? American College of ACT? So, SAT too, yeah. So you already learn everything in the spiritual world, putting together with what we had in previous incarnations, and now we said, I'm coming for the test. So whatever we had to learn, we learned already there before. Here is for the test. And we agree with that. Let me try, I'm ready, this time I won't fail. That's what we say. Put me a harsh plan. And we ask more than we can. They say, no, go slowly. Go slowly because you won't, you will be really, upset, tired, and say, I didn't ask for that. You're going to say soon, I didn't ask for it. Oh, you ask. So they said, no, take less. Take 50% of you think you want. So, and what areas to improve? Oh, there is a lot of areas to improve, that we have. Actually, we are less than 50% good in all these areas. Otherwise, we won't be in this planet. This planet, people that are here is more than 50% or less than 50% good. If you take in account not only what we do, but what I think, and you say, oh my God, I shouldn't think about this. I shouldn't judge the person, this, but it's gone. That's enough to emit a darker energy around me. So if we could have an instrument to measure my psychosphere in that moment of bad judgment, he deserved it. It's for him to learn. This is the way I say, is a darker aura. It depends on the place of my body, brain. Sometimes goes, to other parts of. So we have, and morality actually is what they say we're lagging behind. In this planet, especially in the last, 2 centuries, we went a lot about developing everything based on our intelligence. So technology, science, all these gadgets, everything, we use very well our intelligence. Very well, actually. But many situations, once we develop that, for instance, when they develop radioactivity, Madame Curie and Pierre Curie, they found the radioactivity for what was used all this for a bomb, for the military purpose. Of course, much more people took advantage of that discovery, radioactivity, through treatment. Radiotherapy, many lives were saved compared to how many lives were lost, for instance, in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But that doesn't justify using. And many of these advancements were first used in wars. So at the point people say wars is the way sometimes to boost the new inventions, to have the boost in technology, unfortunately. We have to work a lot in morality, spirituality. I felt spirituality, this old civilization, including our native Indian, they had this spirituality much higher than us. That's my feeling. I don't know if they were not, their mind were more focused in nature. They didn't have too much of these technologies to deviate the attention. But I feel old cultures, Eastern culture, and our native Indians, they were more respectful to the nature, to the point for them to worship them. They may say, well, it's out of ignorance. No, they really, before they enter in the forest, they acknowledge the sentient beings that are there, the source of all medicine. More than 90% of the medicines were first based on natural products. And then because of money, profit, they synthesize, they learn, the chemists learn how to produce this in a synthetic way to make it more profitable. But was all based on nature, natural products. So alkaloids, all this, and then they made analogs and derivatives in order to have a stronger, like opioids. You know, morphine was natural, but then they decided to change the molecule, and it became heroin, became LSD, all these drugs, and all these synthetic ones, that the oxycodone or whatever, that's much more powerful. And we have to also sensitivity, our sentiment, our awareness of the pain of the others, the pain of the little animals, even the plants, you know, and relationship skills. This is the most difficult part to improve in this planet. We are here together, as I said, not by chance. We were put together. We were people that were together in different settings in all other incarnations for thousands of years. And in the end, because they could not work out with us, because we were enemy one day, we one side, the other way we were on the other side, we killing each other, they said, okay, there's no way for you guys, after so many chances, to improve. So let's put you in the family settings. You're gonna come as your kid, as a son, daughter, husband and wife, mothers and son, because then you see a beautiful baby, you have a chance to develop the love of perhaps an enemy that was there. So it's the chance, the last chance for us to improve is to be born together in a family. So we may be old enemies, adversaries, victims and prosecutors together. Imagine. So we cannot complain when some of our siblings are having problems, you know, upset us, drive us crazy. No. We have our share on that behavior. We have our share. So ways for our evolution and progress. Chico says, Chico is this beautiful medium that he died in 2002 at the age of 92 years old. He was a complete medium. He could use all his resources, psychograph, psychophone, clairvoyance, everything he could, materialization, he could do it. So progress is a sum of problems solved. So isn't good? Oh, yes, I want to progress. We all want to progress. But there is a price. We need to have problems in order to have progress. How could you measure progress if we don't have problems to solve? Then we get so happy when the problems are solved. Give me a harder one. Yeah? Evolution is overcome barrier. When we overcome a barrier, we say, oh, that person evolved one step up. Difficulty is a measure of resistance. The tribulation, this is a word. Crucible, you know, that thing that you melt the metal, so it's a very hot, endure high temperature. So we say that the faith has to be endured in that manner, very working hard over that. So I put it there, best answers we can find in the Spirit's Codification by Allan Kardec. I put it there, I'm talking to a Spiritist audience. However, you're gonna see that all the foundation in the Spiritism is also in other faith, more ancient religion and philosophies. Socrates said the same thing. Buddha said the same thing. Krishna said the same thing. Jesus said even. Not clear in the Christian faith, but in the primitive Christianity, it was there. It was there. They just removed after the Roman Empire took over the religion, and they decided that was not a good thing. So let's remember what are the 5 pillars of the Spiritism. That's called the third revelation, because the first is the Mosaic law, the base of Judaism. The second was Jesus, the New Testament. And the third came with Kardec, almost 2,000 years after Jesus. So let's review it. So there is 5 books of the codification here. The Spirit's book, the Medium's book, how to communicate with the spirits, and with the Genesis, the Spiritism according to the Gospel according to Spiritism, which is the moral part of the Gospel. The Heaven and Hell talks about the cases, the good and bad. What we call heaven and hell is not actually the way the church taught us, but is a state of consciousness that we are in a good or in a bad situation. It's our way, our mind, our consciousness. And the Genesis. So, what are the 5 pillars? The existence of God. I cannot talk to an audience about these obstacles existing the way I'm talking if the person does not agree that there is a higher power over us. It can call God, it can call Creator, whatever name, but it's above us. I cannot pinpoint clearly, but for sure there are things that I cannot think that someone made it. You know, the billions of galaxies, all the forests, all the small creatures, all the properties of the atom, the subatomic particles to the cosmic, big scale. So the existence of God, and he asked this, what is God? In the Spirit's book, is the supreme intelligence, and is the cause of everything, the primary cause of everything. So if you find some cause more than what I'm called God, that will be called God. Immortality of the spirits. So we believe in the immortality of the spirit, but so many other faiths, they believe in the immortality of the spirits. Just that the Spirit is put in a more modern language because it was written in the end of 1800s. It's not like Bible that was written 2,000 years ago, the Buddhism or the Mosaic. The Old Testament was 3,000, 4,000 years even older. So the language sometimes was more difficult for us. And the examples also was related to that people that lived in that region, the Hebrews. And so the Buddha also was related to the place where he walked and lived. So it was more difficult. But that notion of immortality of the spirits always exists. So we are the intelligent principle of the universe. We are the intelligent beings. No, we are not inanimate things that need some other intelligence to put it. Then we learn about the origin and the nature, origin, destiny of the spirits. So we ask about our nature, how we originate, all the evolution from the known for the elementary, material, inert material, to human beings. And our destiny is to be pure, to be perfect, almost perfect. Perfect only God, but almost perfect, towards that level. That is our goal. Plurality of existence. Many religions believed that we had multiple incarnations. So this is not a privilege or something restricted to Spiritism. Plurality of inhabited worlds. Many planets could have spirits, have beings, perhaps not in this organic body, because it won't allow, because of that atmosphere, like Jupiter, for instance, is a huge planet. So the gravity is much, much, much higher than here. So my body will be smashed there. So I need to be much more ethereal in order to be in that atmosphere. And so in a smaller planet, perhaps I could be much more dense. So the primitive planet, probably people are more dense materialistically speaking. So here we have some kind of density that is compatible to the law of nature, the gravity, the electromagnetic forces, etc., etc. But we have many in all these billions of galaxies. Each galaxy having billions of solar systems, and each solar system have, I don't know, 8, 10 planets. So how many? Chances we are not the only one, for sure. We're not. So there are categories of these worlds in terms of morality. We have these different categories. Ones that are very primitive, the other ones that are more purified, and of course we have the spiritual world. So it may be true that we're not only in a universe. One verse, which is universe, we will have the thing that the telescope is catching, this powerful telescope, and we're going to build more and more, and we're going to find more and more galaxies. But how about the other dimension that doesn't belong to this universe? So some scientists say we are in a multiverse. We have other universes. And we believe in communicability of the spirits. We can communicate with the spirits that does not have the body, are deceased. Well, this also Judaism believe, Buddhists believe, many other faiths believe, Socrates believed, many philosophers. But what is new in the Spiritism is that Kardec put in a very rational way, in a careful way, to the things that we should do, the things that we should not do. Like evoke without any responsibility the spirits. This is not allowed because there's consequences. That's what Moses prohibited. It's not that you only prohibited excesses, what is used in the wrong way. So at that time they were communicated. The Egyptians were very good to communicate with the spirits, to invoke the spirits. But that was getting to irresponsible activities. So Moses prohibited. So that happened. It was happening in too much excess in the wrong way. So Kardec put in the Medium's book all the way we should, the respect, preparation to communicate with the spirits. And we are all mediums. We have the ostensive mediums, but we have the intuitive mediums. When you say, aha, I have an idea, an insight. We all have it. Just start to write something pops up. Nice. You start to do something, you have some idea to do better. There's other point that is very important, that the Spiritists put clearly that Jesus is the model and guide. So if I have a problem, I should ask sincerely, what Jesus would do it in my place? Or I would do this in front of, if he was watching me doing this? We should ask this, because if it's a model, and God is because he went through what we going through now, billions of years after, you know, but he can understand. So he came, he's more tangible figure for us than God, you know. We are an immortal spirit with many previous experience in physical body, so we are one spirit, immortal, we're never gonna disappear. And all the consequences of our physical and moral actions and memories are imprinted in what we call in Spiritism the perispirit. But the other philosophies also have other words for perispirit. Spiritual body, whatever those words. But we have this mold that we have the imprints of all our previous actions. We can call subconsciousness, deep consciousness, my whole being, which is not surface. They're there. We may not remember, but it's there, stored. And we should follow the natural law or divine law. Everything that we go against the nature, we are damaging. We are against the law. Because everything is one law, you know. Either the cosmic bodies that are going around that is kept there, you know, with the gravity or the forces, the same as our attraction, the atoms that attract, the electron that attract by the proton, etc. Free will. We have free will, so although, because we are in a phase that we already developed, we have some experience, so now I can compare what I did and what is presented to me and decide. And even God is not going to deny my privilege to decide about my life. Even the bad decisions, unfortunately, it won't be prevented. You want to kill yourself, it's going to be allowed, unfortunately for us, you know. And be cognizant that the law of cause effect. Every effect had a cause. If the effect is good, had a good cause. If the effect is bad, had a bad cause. Just think about, you know, when we step wrongly, we're gonna be hurt. That stone was not put there just to upset me. No, you know. So how does the incarnate spirit acquire experience? Emmanuel, which is the spirit that sent a lot of message and dictate books to Chico, he says, what does the incarnate spirit acquire? How does the incarnate spirit acquire experience? The struggle and work are so essential to perfection of the spirit, as the material bread is indispensable to the maintenance of the physical body. It is by working and struggling, suffering and learning that the soul acquires the experience needed in the march of perfection. So we cannot complain about the struggles because we came for that in order to go one step, one by one, upwards towards perfection. And then there is a question, if the divine determinism is that of good, so we cannot think God will want bad things. It's always good. So they ask, so who created evil? If there is this divine determinism and this is good, why? How the evil is here, you know? So the divine determinism consists in a single law, which is that of love for the universal community. However, trusting in himself more than in God, man turns his fragility into the focus of actions contrary to this law, making them thereby a wrong intervention into divine harmony. This is evil. So they say in the Old Testament, Adam's Eve, they were living happily there in the Garden of Eden, you say? Garden. So they were happy. It was a perfect life. But then a snake whispered here, said, don't you want to try something else? Why not? You know, and it's a part of our nature to try something different. How many of our kids did this to the parents? Don't do this, you're gonna be hurt. And they go there, exactly because you said no. You know, it's part of the experience. We are driven by these new things, driven to test, driven even to disobey. We want to disobey. Guys, we feel some thrill to disobey. Let's see if I am smarter than God. That is what we're saying there. You guys, my parents are saying God's law is perfect. Oh, but I want to see if I cannot be better. So that's how Adam and Eve, they did that. Oh, let's try. Perhaps we can have a better than this garden that God is offering. If the snake is true, we're going to have it. That's how they did. That's how it started all the journey because of that decision, using the free will. So be careful with the free will. This demand for restoration of the sacred links with the sublime harmony. This demands for restoration of the sacred links. So once we make a mistake, we have to redo it. And this is a painful way. It takes 1 millisecond for me to drop something in the lab and make a mess. It takes hours for me to clean. That upsets me because I said, oh, why I wasn't so more careful? You know, now I have to clean this. So this is once you create what you call this harmony or evil in the religious way, we have to restore. And that is called redemption, which is good, but takes suffering. See then that evil essentially considered cannot exist for God since it represents a human deviation, being zero in divine wisdom and providence. So it's our decision, but in the end we will reach the same point. Will take billions of years, but we'll go there. Okay, incarnation and experience. This is so it's a trip. We're gonna make a trip, and that is advertisement. If you've got the karma, you've got the ticket. Buy a ticket. Oh yes, we say, I have a karma because I'm suffering here because I know I made a mistake. And then group excursions are our specialty. So yes, we come in group. Sometimes the same group that we had many incarnations. Some are added. Some are added in a positive way, but some are added for the following incarnation because we made mistakes. Like we say, that person that I fought in the traffic, it was not so, and then there was a big fight there, almost one kill each other. It was not supposed to be in my next incarnation. It was not supposed to. If I just let it go, okay, he probably was upset, have problems. But because I create a problem, he may have to come in my family because the hatred was so big. We went to the court. We fought there with our lawyers, etc., etc. So we create a karma. So to fix this, we have to come back in a family setting sometimes. So in the Spirit's book, this is in the book Missionaries of the Light, this book, that Andre Luiz describes what happens in the spiritual world in many cities here. So there is an institute of anatomical sculpture. So there is a plan. They plan special incarnations, not special in a way to say, oh, we're going to be a missionary that will be born. No, it can be a person that needs a lot of help. So they plan carefully. They have to ask, please, I know this spirit will cause you problem, but can you receive as your son? You know, so this is where the spirits, they work about what kind of gene, what kind of weakness we're going to have in our body. There's all probability, it's not certain. There is a weakness, is a higher probability, weak point, weak spot, like gastric, lung, because I was a previous smoker, I drank too much, but not, how to say, a law that I'm going to have it. I can avoid that if I have a better life, very careful, you know, eating and lifestyle. But anyway, there are some spirits that they are in such a bad situation that the only way is to restrict their body in some way, movement, cognition, because they made so many. They made so many people to suffer. They killed so many people out of their intelligence. Look, Hitler, all these people in the Second World War, they used all the intelligence to exterminate the whole population. You know, so many wars. So there is no way, they have so many enemies around that the only way, the merciful way to protect that spirit from the attack, from these old enemies, is to come in a hidden way, is with a defective body, you know, that they cannot even recognize. He has no brain to see what's going on. And they are at the mercy of a very good mother and father. So they learn slowly how to clean this perispirit, and next time it comes, it can be a little bit more open up. Or they come with stuck in a bed. There was one boy that, you know, he was there in the very agitated spirit he could not accept. And then he was getting older, like teenager, he was already make a plan to be taken to walk or to move. Actually, he could walk a little bit, to move to a cliff and kill himself. And then the spirits the protector said the only way is to amputate his legs so he cannot walk. So he had some terrible degenerative disease. I don't know what kind of disease, but they have to amputate. Because the protector spirit said he was planning. Again, that was the 5th incarnation that he was killing himself. This time he cannot kill himself, otherwise we don't have any other way to save this guy, this boy, this spirit. So there is all these things that apparently seems inhuman, bad, but sometimes is the only way to allow that person to live a little longer, 10 more years, 20 more years, in order to cleansing the perispirit. So this is, you see here, for the incarnation, they go to the family settings, these are the spirits, and try to send some message to them in order for them to accept this spirit, to have in their heart the willingness to bear a child. And they go also during the dream, during the night, they call them to the spiritual world and talk to them in order to convince them, look, he was your enemy. He killed you in the other existence. But this time, he says he wants to have a chance. And the only way is for it to be your son. And some mothers accept a baby that they know that that baby will live only for a couple of years. What a mother to accept this. And they accept. And so Jesus' mother, she knew he would go in a bad way at 30-something years old. But she accepted. And so many mothers accepted. Because it was in the plan of that spirit to die early. To die at the age of 15 in a motorcycle crash. It doesn't matter. But was. You know. So, but she accepted. And this person that talked about her story was in one of the movies of Chico, The Mothers of Chico. And she was there. He died, I think the boy was 5, 6 years old in a bicycle accident with the maid. And Chico said, so did you forgive her? He said, oh yes, Chico, I forgave her. Yeah, but you should be thankful to her. Thankful to her because he was with her, and by her lack of attention, he fell from the bike, and he died later. Got worse for some reason. And she said, well, because she took your place. Imagine if instead her would be you that were in that bike ride, because he was supposed to die at that age, and he had an aneurysm. So any bump that he would have, that will blow. So it was meant to be in that way, but could be you. And she took your place. Imagine if it was you, you won't forgive yourself. So you should be thankful to her. And Celia, she gave this talk. So in this book, Thought and Life, there is a chapter called Family. Family is very interesting. The bloodly, you say bloodly related family is not by chance. They are there, and they function as a mirror. So we are reflected. Our mental condition, our way to be is reflected on all these people around us. So in some way, we are related to them either because we were companions that made that person fall into vices or some kind of negative conduct, or we support, drug, for instance, we support, we gave money, or we didn't pay attention, whatever the cause is, we contributed. So family, we are all related, so we should, you see, family relationships are the basis of our mental reflex, pleasant or unpleasant, according to what the past brings back to us. The spirit reincarnates in the same sphere of their family relationships and meets again in the next incarnation. And meets again, the link they had woven. So they knit all this relationship, the thread, and for themselves according to the thread of their thoughts and inclinations. So be careful with our thought and inclination. We are putting together in a web many people together. In our family group, we have both the links of happiness built through expression of love, of course, positive part. We love some family members, right? But not 100%. We have some complaints, right? We have some complaints. We say, but I love, but we have some complaints. We see some negative things. And feathers, we find the feathers of constraint and animosity. This is a degree. I have much more, 80% animosity. I cannot even look at my sister. And this one, I have 80% love. Or 80% of the time, I am in love, 20% bad, or vice versa. It all depends on our past. So in order to go through these family problems, Jesus and Emmanuel says, we have somehow to self-sacrifice. There is no way not to sacrifice a little bit. Otherwise, we won't be together. We won't be together. Everybody knows I have to give something. I have not to see everything, to demand everything. I'll agree with something. Silence. This is important. Especially in the Western country, we are taught to be talk, and put our demands, put all the arguments like a lawyer. Not in the Eastern. The Eastern, the Japanese are more quiet. I don't know if it's good or bad, but they're more silent. I remember they just look at me and I have to figure out that I have to go, you know, especially with my grandfather. Patience. So sometimes the silence is very important. Patience and humility. And humility is difficult because when we want to win the battle, we want to win the argument. Who doesn't want to? Oh, we want, right? You want to win the argument with your mother and your husband and vice versa. We want to because we have our pride. We have our pride, unfortunately. We have, oh, I have to, otherwise you're going to think I'm nothing. No, in the university, when we discuss some issue, oh, we want to win. It's not good. So the other details that I feel is very important in the plan to optimize the profit of this incarnation is all these things that we don't pay attention. Gender. If I come a female or a male, that makes a big difference. Depends on the culture. I will have a completely different output. Struggle. I have to use more patience in some culture. You know, physical, mental health. If I'm whole or we're not whole. Oh, it makes a completely different output. Country that we're born and live. If we moved from Brazil to here, there was a shock of culture. Although it was Western, I imagine the people from the Eastern part of the globe will be more difficult to adapt here. But nevertheless, it was difficult, you know, to make mistakes. Ethnic, economical group, you know, all the prejudices that we will find, you know. The birth order among siblings. Did you realize this? I was the oldest. In a Japanese family, this means a lot of difference. I could not be called by own name. My sisters and brother had to come by the title. Otherwise, it was disrespectful. But that has a price. You have to be responsible for all your siblings. Set a model, set an example. That was hard. My little sister, baby sister, easy. You know, the parents were already experienced to raise the kids. They didn't need any much more. So in this big stage of family, of course, it comes old experience, our tendencies, our temptations, traumas, all will in a boiling, pot, and will propel, come up some actions and reactions to that. And our free will, which is very dangerous. We have to use, so we are allowed to use it, we granted to. Oh, I don't know if so although we don't remember clearly about our past because the memories fade away, but we have a hint, some intuition, what was our incarnatory plan, and that we had the willingness to pass this time the test. That we had. So for a successful present incarnation, some great examples and tips. So we have all these problems. We feel lost, confused, unsure, unclear, perplexed, oriented, bewildered. Do we have help for all this? Yes, of course we have. We have help, advice, support, tips, assistance, guidance. We have all these around. We may not want to pay attention, but we have. If we pay attention around, we have all the support. So, who is packing your parachute? Did you hear this story? So we ask everyone, who has been folding your parachute, helping you that you didn't even pay attention? So there is this story of this Navy pilot in Vietnam called Charles Plum. He was successful, 75 combat mission, but his plane was destroyed. And he, in the last minute, he could be ejected, and his parachute opened, but he fell in the enemy hands. So he stayed 6 years there, but eventually he was released, came back as a hero in the United States. He received some medals, some awards. So he was around giving all the lectures about his life. Became big. But then he says, it was, I don't know why it became so big. Do you know? Oh, anyway, I'm going to read this. So he says, I was a pilot. He was just a sailor. He was there packing all this parachute. One day, when Plum and his wife were sitting in the restaurant, a man at another table came up and said, "You are Plum. You flew jet fighters in Vietnam from the aircraft carrier Kitty Hawk. You were shot down. How in the world did you know of that?" asked Plum. "I packed your parachute," the man replied. Plum gasped in surprise and gratitude. The man pumped his hand and said, "I guess it worked, huh?" He said, "Oh yes, otherwise I won't be here." So from that day on, in all lecture, he said this story of this man. If it wasn't for his care about my parachute, his responsibility, I won't be here. So I'm talking about my heroism, my accomplishment, but who was supporting you when you were, we were all studying, going to the university, getting that job, etc., etc. Acceptance is very important while in this planet Earth when we are facing obstacles and bad experience. Chico says in this book, Inspiration, before collecting ourselves into the cradle in the greater life, so then in the spiritual life, we chose or were induced to choose the kind of experience we are in need to improve ourselves or to move ourselves to higher planes. I need patience. I will be with someone that will drive me crazy in order for me to, to practice experience. If I am with Dalai Lama, oh no, I won't need to learn anything, I will to practice my patience. But we'll put some difficult people. Rebellion complicates life's best plans. Revolt is a pitiful delay in any organization. So if we rebel, oh, I don't want that, I didn't do that, I didn't ask for that, I didn't even ask to be born, this is going backwards. We're losing our incarnation. Welcome your difficulties when you cannot extinguish them, healing them little by little under the strain of your serene energy. We have to heal. We have to accept. We have to heal. We cannot just kick out. No, we have to face. Chico said, the most difficult thing is to help in silence, love without criticism, give without asking, understand without complaining. Oh, do we do that? The most difficult acquisition to all of us is called patience. Even him that was almost a saint, you know, it's difficult really. Well, I give my love, but unless you do this or you don't drive me crazy. No, love has to be unconditional, right? Oh, but we are so far from that. He said, we can live in a so-so house, so-so street, so-so city, government. We can sleep in a so-so bed, eat some beans, so-so transport, in so-so, middle way. We don't, it's right, but we cannot, never, not at all, is to love so-so. We have to love entirely, which is difficult. To dream, so-so we cannot dream. So we have to dream big. To have a so-so friend, no, friend is friend, we accept. Faith is the same. We have to have fully embracing. Otherwise, we run the risk of becoming a so-so person. So there's I think I'm late. There's some stories and people, figures in the Christianity, which gave us example. Mary of Nazareth, of course, she passed through all the pain with her son. Of course, she would be more in a place to understand the mother's suffering. That's why many mothers pray for her, because knows that she will understand the mother's suffering. So she lived until 80 years old, helping many suffering people. And say, this also shall pass, she used to say. Peter also, he was just rude fisherman, but he transformed when he denied his big friend Jesus 3 times. He wept, he was in shame, and after that he became really a big figure. And they say that he avoid the split of Christianity, being a mediator between Paul and James, that started this argument over circumcision. James was for circumcision. Paul said, no, this is not. So almost they had to split, but Peter saved that. And of course, Paul of Tarsus, the apostle of Gentiles, he was a very strong prosecutor of first Christians, but once he saw Jesus in the gate of Damascus, he changed completely, and with the same strength, he embraced Christianity, endured all the adversities, and took all the teachings to as west almost as Spain. He almost entered in Spain. Know thyself is very important. We have some of 7, how to say, sin, capital sin, but we all have part of those, right? Pride, who doesn't have pride, envy, lust, anger, greed, laziness, selfishness, rebelliousness, intolerance. But the good thing is to replace by the opposite. It's easy. I say, oh, I'm going to cut my pride. Well, how I'm going to cut my pride. What is pride? You know, it's difficult. So it's better to say, I will practice humility, which is the opposite of pride, right? Kindness instead envy, benevolence. Abstinence instead gluttony. Chastity instead lust. Patience instead anger. Generosity instead greed. Diligence instead laziness. Altruism instead selfishness. Compliance instead rebelliousness. Open-mindedness instead intolerance. When I feel intolerant, I say, I have to be more open-minded. Right? I can practice this. Guilt is very difficult in our life. This is a set backwards because the guilt leads us to punishment. We want to punish ourselves because we're feeling guilty. We want to punish others because, you know, the others did something. So guilt and punishment is a very negative couple, very negative. Obstacles is just say, we will find obstacles. Just we have to go around. We have to go around. They're going to be there. So it's a lot to say, but it's obvious. But I see the last part that I put it. Sow the good through everything and everyone by all lawful means within our reach. Understand that in matters of harvest, God asks time from man. Man must give his time to God. So you always have to face obstacles without getting angry, upset, because then we're going to create problems, including problems to our physical organs. Being angry the whole time, maintained angry, we're going to have a gastrite, heart attack, many bad things. So there is beautiful saying, Japanese saying, be like the water, making its way through the cracks. Don't bump, go around, you know. Don't run over these obstacles. And the Taoist says, the tree is rigid and doesn't bend before the wind, so it breaks. Flexibility looks like weakness, but is really strength. Rigidity looks like strength, but it is really weakness. So we have to be flexible. And sometimes in our culture, we don't like flexibility. We think is weakness. No. To be flexible is to accept in that moment, and in another time we bend a little bit more and go around. So they say, do not ruin your day. Oh, we ruin our days with irritation, the contrarieties that we find, you know, we don't accept, and we want to fight. Your disappointment will not do the work that only time will achieve. We have to give time. That's what God is so, how to say, successful. He has all the time. It's not in a rush that we be good in one incarnation. So wait. Bad humor will not modify life. And so on. So there is in this book, Christian Agenda, somewhere. There's this book that's very interesting. So don't ruin your day. Learn from divine wisdom to forgive endlessly, so constructing and reconstructing for the infinite good. So it's always in a constructive way. You cannot solve today. Let it go. Be more calm. You will find solution when you are in more happier situation. Don't get out from the car and say, look, you were wrong. I was right. Who cares? If the guy is going to kill you, why you have to be right? Right? Why you have to be with the truth? Isn't it better to keep the friend, the peace? The Christian imperatives also in this, it's very interesting this to read, because all the actions, they put some kind of adjective, qualification. So it's not learning anyway, oh, I'm gonna just listen. No, humbly. Teach, practicing. Who teaches practicing? I am the teacher, I want them to practice. Oh, I'm here. No, I have to teach practicing. And then obey willingly, pray serenely, ask with discernment. We cannot ask any, we ask this in our prayer, right? Whatever comes to our mind, no, we have to be reasonable. Correct, I like that also, correct with kindness. Oh, I'm right, I have to correct. Why? No. Forgive continuously. Forgive continuously. So it's very good to have this, that is not any way, I trust anyway, I pray anyway, I help in any way. No, I have to help elevating others. I cannot humiliate others. That's bad, right? Prayer is very important to overcome obstacles, to go through tough experience. Jesus said, ask and it shall be given, but was not only that, oh, I ask and then will be given. No, I have to seek, I have to go after, I have to have a plan in order to contribute to God's work, to help me. So I have to go beyond, seek and you shall find, knock and shall be open to you. If I don't go to do my part forward, there is no way. So, and I like this way that is put in this book also about prayer, is the divine movement of the mirror. So imagine the mirror there as a prayer is moving the mirror, so get the sunlight to deviate the ray to the place where it's needed. So is that what my prayer will do? You know, will direct my good willingness, my good, vibration to those that are in need, to place where I'm in need. So it says, imagine the face of a mirror facing the sun, diverting its glow in the direction of the abyss. This is, in essence, is the function of prayer, seeking the divine love to focus its lights towards the valleys of ignorance and suffering, misery and hatred, which are still widespread in the world. So my prayer has to do to myself, to direct the ray to within me and to others that we are praying for. I think it's a beautiful, and cooperation, to pray, you know, with the door closed. You don't need to be talking loud to others to know I'm praying. No, you have to be quiet. And also is to be helpful to others and collaborate with others. It's like Dalai Lama said, our prime purpose in this life is to help others. And if you can't help them, at least don't hurt them. That's enough. Don't hurt. You know, our relatives and companions suffer with us the impact of unpleasant occurrence. So be aware about the sentiment of the ones around us. So let us understand that for the elimination of our little problems, we require the protection of the Lord. It is only natural that the Lord asks the minimum of our assistance to suppress the great misfortunes that strike our neighbor. So it's one way and the other way. We ask, we give. If we don't give, we're not going to fulfill our harmony. So Dalai Lama says many things here. One thing that is, we fight many wars over religion. And he says, my religion is simple. My religion is kindness. It can be even no religion, be atheist, but kindness. Be a good man, a good woman. That's enough. So all the wars is gone. You don't need to. Or a Christian, you Muslim, you this. No. Are you kind? If he's kind, it's enough for me, right? Love, absence of judgment. You have to have an inner peace in order to make peace. And this sleep, I thought was interesting. The best meditation, because it comes like in Spiritism when we say during the dream, you detach to go to the spiritual world. You know, your subconscious mind detached. And he says here, we travel to a completely different world and return back refreshed. All living beings indulge in sleeping, and it is one of the most crucial activities for the well-being of our mind, body, and soul. So it's good to sleep well and pray before sleep. But I like this part here when he says, remember that sometimes not getting what you want is a wonderful stroke of luck. So finally, we get into the point, don't say, look, I hate this misfortune. No, we have to welcome and see what I can learn from that lesson, for that event. So he says it's a wonderful stroke of luck. When things don't go the way we plan or as we want them to, we tend to look within ourselves. We think about what we could have done differently. Yeah, it helps us to realign our focus, learn from our past mistakes, and without setbacks or a bumpy ride, you would never be able to appreciate a smooth ride. When you overcome the fear of failure, you are prepared to face any challenge that comes your way. We have fear. Why have such a fear? Let's go. We fail. We know. Now the next is not to go to this way. It's the other way. That way doesn't help. If a kid, first time it falls, he said, I don't want to walk anymore. I refuse to walk anymore. What are you going to do? The kids won't learn to walk. But no kid does this. As soon as he stops crying, stand up and go and do exactly the same thing. So why we're not doing anymore this? We shamed that others are watching me fail? Who cares? Let's do it again, a little differently, of course, but let's do it. So this is a prayer by the Spirit Maria Dolores to Chico in this book, Anthology of Spirituality. And says, it's a different prayer, exactly. Let us see what you think about. I thank you, Lord, when you say no. We don't ask like this, right? We want yes. So she says, I thank you, Lord, when you say no to the undeserved plea I make through my prayer. Undeserved because I ask other things. To pass through a test, how I'm asking. Many of those blessings I ask, like esteem, concession, possession, pleasure. In my case, perhaps, they could be the thorns in the path you gave me to walk through. At other times, I implore your favors. Between mourning, crying, noise, mirroring simple clatter that escapes my pride. There are privileges I want. I beg from you, yes, that if they would flourish in my existence, they would be disadvantaged against me. Sometimes, you know, a beautiful face, a beautiful life, an easy life. No, that will be my ruin because I will be accommodated. I may use my beauty in a wrong way, right? In many circumstances, I beg affection without finding company anywhere. That might be my case, that I've been single so long. Let's see what they say. When you give me loneliness as my guide, may it inspire me to seek you. Teach me that I am the right place, that you got nobody for me by chance, and that I enjoy now the best time to get better at everything I need. Do not listen to my crazy demands. Make me realize that I will reach beyond what is necessary if I do my duty. I thank you, my God, when you say no with your love, and whenever I beg you what I should not, do not answer me, Lord. Okay, so I think I finished finally. Sorry it was so late.
Wow, that's the comment, right? Thank you, Jasco.
Questions?
We are waiting, Jasco.
Ah.
Okay.
Oh.
Now? Okay. Thank you, Jasco, because we just had, in an hour and a half, the whole view of the foundation of Spiritism. We have Spiritism 101.
Thank
really,
you. I'm learning. I was raised Buddhist, so I have to learn, guys.
I really felt like I was in a classroom and seeing all the basic concepts.
Okay.
So, due time, we will have limited our questions, the number of questions or comments. So, whoever has a question or comment, we're going to have 2 or 3, and then we will go to our visualization. Daniel?
Yeah, just ask, could you summarize, because you did a beautiful study over there, what was for you as a speaker and as a student, what's the most difficult obstacle we have nowadays?
For me,
Give me a second, because probably they couldn't hear. The question is, like, for Jasco, for the speaker, what is the biggest obstacles that we have nowadays to progress and evolve as a humans?
I always say that every time I ask something, that areas that I have to improve, I always say, give me patience, give me, make me more tolerant. Because I don't have many difficulties to execute or to learn. So I am a very diligent person. I don't have difficulties in this area. I came prepared for that. It's not that I'm better. No, I came prepared in this area. You know, I was born Virgo. Virgo has this advantage too. It's very rational, put the thing in a disciplined way. So I don't have difficulties for this. But patience, yes, is a big obstacle, because my famous word is, what is wrong with you? Like, they made me even a t-shirt, because I look at the person and say, what is wrong with you that you don't get it? You know, that you are falling in the same hole. So for me, it's terrible if I do this when I fall in the same hole. I said, are you dumb? What is the problem with you, you know? So I pay attention. So I suffer when the person falls in this same hole and get like entangled in some web. It doesn't get the life through clear way, you know. Can't you see that this has a cause and then you're going to have effect through this cause? If you put this step, it's going to have a consequence. If you go this way, it's another way. So I said, why can't you use a little bit of, you know, brain? So this is my problem. So my tendency is to say, what is wrong with you that you don't get it? Or being tolerant, not much. Now that I understand, intolerance is to be open-mindedness. No, I am open-minded, but I think it's patience.
Thank you, yes. It's not only you.
Yeah. I didn't have kids, so I didn't need to practice with my kids. Yes, that's my, well, but they didn't give my way, some obstacles for me to get better. Mm-hmm. So it's not my fault.
Any other question or comment?
Kids. Anything. Yeah. I usually do the question.
It is a lot.
It's a lot
to process.
Yeah.
To think
Sorry,
about
yeah,
it.
I had a lot of material.
But basically, we have a plan to be here. We need to be grateful to be on this planet, in this level of the planet. That's our level of evolution. And we need to take advantage of what we have around us, even if we don't see that.
Yeah, I think
as an advantage.
One thing that I would say in this book, Plenitude, I always heard the Buddhist point of view about suffering, which is not equal to pain. You can have pain is equal to anyone. However, the emotional attachment that I give to that pain, it can be different, depends on the culture. So the Buddhists always help us to understand you don't need to suffer with the problems. You can accept the problems and be thankful. So that I heard always in my family. Oh, yeah, suffering is normal. You just have to not suffer. What's the news? You came for that, so why are you suffering? Suffering because of the suffering? What kind of craziness is this? You know, they're going to say, my grandfather said, what is this? You know, what's wrong with you? Suffering, suffering. You came for, otherwise you won't even be born here. You were done. You were in the other sphere, more, you know, evolved planet. You came here, you failed. So it's part of the job, a part of the game. So don't suffer. Just say, yes, I accept. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best. Why I have this? No, we don't ask this why. No, my family, we won't ask why the neighbor don't have, why this? Because it's you. It's your life. It's your destiny. You are own, you're individual. You cannot compare to your neighbor, your sibling. No, it's you. I think this is.
So let us practice to be good. And we are going now to our final prayer.